You know, I thought it was interesting that Schwarzenegger did not address the issues very much in his campaign. He had a few issues he talked about, but he didn't go before the regular press a great deal. He relied upon his media or his entertainment connections, and that's a large measure how he reached out to the public. But now as governor, he's going to have to produce, and so it's going to be a tough job for him. I mean, the financial situation of California is they're in a crisis situation, and I don't think he's going to be able to handle it very easily.
Well, and especially since he's going up against a Democratic Congress.
Right.
And
right.
You know, his whole
However, I
it's really
think
tough. That's going to be something.
I think it would have been reversed. Had been a Republican office being recalled, he could have been a Democrat and probably still won. I mean, he's kind of a midline politician.
Yeah. But just trying to get these things over that he's wanting with the Democratic legislatures.
I can sometimes think that this thing kind of reached a critical mass, you know, just once it got in motion, it just couldn't stop it, you know, just, I mean, really, 65%, I think it was, the polls indicated that Schwarzenegger had not addressed the issues on how he was going to, or is going to fix California. That doesn't mean that he's not able or willing. It's just simply that because of the other attention that was placed on him as a former this, former that they never got into that discussion, you know.
Well, not only that, but I think he played the right cards in the issues. Like himself, he has no axe to grind in taking this job. He doesn't need the money. Nobody can buy him. All that kind of stuff, you know, that he's for the people of California, for nothing else. Boy, that goes over big, you know.
Be the first politician that's never been bought.
Yeah, really.
Well, I think the honeymoon's definitely going to be a short one.
Oh yeah,
Right. He's not going to have a lot of time
right.
to get his act together and his agenda together, and he's definitely got a team of individuals behind him that are from the Beltway and are on the inside. So he won't have a lot of excuses not to be successful.
But just the car tax thing that he says the first thing he's going to do is going to cost the state how many? You know, he's going to repeal that, and that's going to put him farther in debt because they were counting on that to get him out. So it's going to be tough.
Okay, we have John calling from California. John, tell me what's going on in California.
Gentlemen, how are you today?
Good. Thank you for calling.
I was first stirred by the comment about it being politically motivated. Well, in part it was, but about 25, if not a little more, actually voted for the recall, and probably more than that actually signed the petition to have the recall. You also asked, well, how come we elected him into office? Well, he had a special interest basically to do it, and he also, Governor Davis, does his dirty tactics either through the press, the newspapers, LA Times if you want to be specific, or by other means. That's his tactic, and that's what we've lived with out here in California.
Well, I think you are correct on a couple of those points. I do think a large part of why Davis was reelected was because the Republicans didn't put forth a strong candidate. And if Arnold had perhaps run during that point, I think there would have been some more serious consideration.
But see, Reardon was a strong candidate, and what Davis went after first was Reardon, that leaving Simon the weaker of the two, if you want to put it that way. Again, it's down on our knees, not only for our state, but for our country. And we're not angry. We just want to be resolved in trying to survive in this state with how we can without giving away everything to all the special interests. Thank you, gentlemen, for an opportunity to express my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah, this is it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in the next 90 days. He's already outlined some of the things that he's going to do, like you said, immediately.
Yeah.
And but then I heard some of the comments from the Democrats already saying, "Well, we're going to be watching," you know.
Oh yeah.
Because that option to recall is available still.
Carlos,
And I said, well, I hope that this doesn't happen. In fact, some of the Republican leaders said, hey, let's get on with the program here. Let's get California out of the hole and let's talk about the other things
the problem
later.
is he has the ideas, but he doesn't have a plan yet. When they question him on the plan, he has no plan. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Okay, we have Jim from Rogers. Jim, you're on the air. Thank you for calling tonight.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I appreciate the previous caller talking about what he calls Gray Davis's dirty tricks, when actually it seems during this entire recall election the dirty tricks came from the other side, as many of the people going for this recall and holding the petitions were actually, it's my understanding, misleading people as far as what these petitions were for. Used completely different issues that everybody's going to be against, and they did that. So I'm certainly opposed to that. Secondly, I think it's a shame that a recall is one thing, but I think it's a shame that it had to happen so quickly, because as one of the panelists had mentioned earlier, Arnold Schwarzenegger did not have to talk about the facts. He was able to fight through on the same recognition. He didn't have to talk about the facts. He didn't have to address how he claims he's going to get California out of the budget crunch without raising taxes and without cutting education, which I don't think you should ever cut education, but I don't think you should ever just shut the door on raising taxes, because that, the disparities in California's property taxes in reference to other states is just ridiculous, and that's something that needs to be visited, as well as possible other tax increases. So I don't think he knows exactly how to handle it, and I think that definitely came out during the election.
Okay, thank you.
One of the 135 candidates who actually did fare very well is Peter Camayo. Peter, with the Green Party, actually in one of the polls, most people understood where he was coming from better than either the Democratic or Republican candidate at the time. And I thought that was very telling.
Well, again, the discussion tonight, obviously we tried to address several issues, but naturally the elections in California and the presence of many, all of us rather. But we'd like to go back to the title of the discussion today in regards to non-combatants in time of war. Before we do this, we're going to take one more caller, and this is Philin calling from Fayetteville. Good evening, you're on the air, Philin.
Good evening to the panel. Good discussion already.
Thank you for calling.
I had a question about the administrative leak of the agent recently, and has anything come out on that, where it might have come from and why it was done? Because this is very troubling to me to think that something like that might occur.
Thank you for that question. Last week we addressed quite a bit that particular point, Philin, and it is a very troubling thought. The panel last week, and I will let each one express their view on this, but the panel, I guess, conclusion was that, again, what is the deeper question there is not only, yes, that if this leak came from somewhere in the White House, it is very troubling, but the deeper question is, why in the world will the CIA recruit the wife of one of our ambassadors to serve in the CIA? Imagine what kind of a picture presents that now to all of the other wives that are serving in all of the other nations. People are now wondering if this wife of this particular person also a CIA agent. And so I think that is, to me, the deepest question that I personally feel troubled about. But any other comments on that?
Well, I feel very troubled about it. If it was really politically motivated, that is really a low blow. That is really unexcusable.
Yeah.
Well, there are so many different charges, and I don't know the truth yet. It seems like we'll have to perhaps wait a while to hear what the truth is. But President Bush expressed the view that we may not be able to find out who this person was. And oftentimes that's the way it is with leaks, because reporters are not going to tell where their source of information is. They're pretty good at keeping that quiet, and may be very difficult to find out.
The reporter will be out of business quick.
Yeah, they won't get any more, yeah.
Yep. Okay, one of the things that tonight we'd like to visit with you is about the great service, the unsung heroes that are participating in armed conflicts around the world today, and those who have participated and serve extraordinarily well our nation under the most difficult of circumstances.